The other day I was thinking about how Tom Brady can have a Donald Trump hat in his locker room, but if LeBron was to say he was friends with Farrakhan, they would cancel him.
I don't believe that.
You don't think so? Because
I mean, come on.
Because I seen people on social media
Absolutely.
say
We let them do it all
if you
the
post
time.
if you post Farrakhan,
We
you
let them
with
do it all
Farrakhan
the
and you're
time.
evil.
That's it.
You talking
It's
from
a
white
wrap.
people? You talking from white people or black
It's a
people?
wrap.
Yeah, for white people, that's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I mean, listen.
And we don't run to each other's defense in response to it. That's the other side.
And we didn't support Trump the way we should have.
Agree.
Back at it again. It's the Photo Culture Podcast. I go by the name Exotic Rose and have my co-host Money Mitch. And today we're doing a Black History panel. And today we have great Zach Tate, Brandon, Hotep Jesus, Liz, Elizabeth, and Corey. So I want to go around and let everybody just introduce yourself. Let's start with Zach.
Hey everyone, is great Zach Tate, best-selling author of We the Blacks, along with many other fictional and non-fictional books, screenwriter, leader of the New World, probably the elder here, probably old enough to be everybody's parent, so I'll be the elder of the voice today. And just peace to the community.
All right, next up we got Brandon.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Brandon, aka B McFly, and B McFly stands for being motivated. Comes from loving yourself, and Black men could faithfully love you. I am a motivator. I'm a sober messenger. I reenact skits. I reenact real life scenarios, and I just bring them through skits, just to spread awareness. And man, I got millions and millions of views on, the skits that I've created, man. So, I'm just out here trying to make a difference. That's all.
Hotep Jesus, tech entrepreneur, founded 3 tech companies, 4 technically, 2 AI companies. One of them is in the video analytics. The other one is in deep fakes, or as what we call them, synthetic content. And also Bitcoin. I have a Bitcoin app. You can purchase Bitcoin directly from a Black-owned company, coinbitsapp.com. And then my partner in the iPhone app, Jiffitize, empowers content creators by allowing people to download just videos directly from the Twitter platform directly to their iPhone. Also, 2-time author, about to be 3, and podcaster.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Liba. Everyone knows me as Liz. I've been pretty vocal and outspoken over the past year since George Floyd's death about social justice and specifically police brutality and inequity in Black community. So it's featured in a New York Times article about people, Black professionals that are speaking out on LinkedIn and using that as a platform just to amplify our voices. And recently, I just started over the past 3 weeks. I'm a college professor and I design courses for online programs. So recently, over the past 3 weeks, I launched my own platform called Black History and Culture Academy, where I'm offering micro learning, which is courses that give history of our culture. So really amplifies the idea that we as a people, and all those in the dominant culture as well, but even us, are not being taught Black history. It's not required in any school in the United States. A very small minority of states have it as a requirement. There's no national referendum or curriculum for Black history. So that's something that needs to change. And a lot of adults don't even understand or know Black history, African history, culture, literature. And some of the things that I teach in my classroom are very westernized and taught through a majority cultural lens. So I really wanted to change that. And that's why I started my platform.
Nice. Corey?
Hey, what's up? I'm Corey L. Scott. I am a life coach, pastor, motivational speaker, and the host of the My Brilliant Friends podcast. I'm an author and a community activist and organizer.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. Let's start with the first question. What does Black History Month mean to everybody? I don't know who wants to go first, but go ahead.
To me, it means absolutely nothing. absolutely nothing. I think when I was younger, much younger in school, it was very Black orientated, the schools that I went to. And the identity of Black, like I explained before, this idea that Latinos were not Black is a new phenomenon for someone like me, because when I was younger, we were all dark people. And Budweiser, believe it or not, had this thing called the Budweiser Superfest. It was a concert that went all over the country. You can ask your parents about it. And Blacks like PayPal Sharpton, commonly known as Al Sharpton, ran around sticking up companies, putting pressure on them saying, cut us a check or we just gonna keep being a nuisance. And in order to reach out to what was called minority inclusion and community affairs, they every year would sponsor like posters that said, these are your heroes, right? But by Budweiser, right? And it was like African History Month. Then the uppity Negroes started complaining about the name and the difference between African or Black or African American, so on and so on. And then they settled for Black History Month. And Negroes went crazy with it, like it was a reward. Then other people complained, oh, it was the shortest month of the year and it's disrespectful. And it would be a whole hoopla for February and then nothing else for the rest of the year, as if our Blackness was on pause. So for me, a person who comes from Nation of Gods and Earths, person that comes from Black school, Black academia, when I was a young person, and the person that comes from Jamaica, where everybody that was in charge kind of looked like me or darker than me, and everybody on the money is darker than me. To me, it was like, kind of like a smack in the face.
First of all, I just want to say I appreciate what Brother Zach said, because I go back and forth between that and what I'm about to say now. I used to look at Black History Month as something that pretty much what Zach said, right? But I think we also got to take into consideration Carter G. Woodson, the founder of Negro History Week, the creator of this idea of Black history, which ended up becoming a whole month celebration. My views now on the subject are, I see it as a reboot. Throughout the year, our Black consciousness is on pause. But for some of us, we need an awakening, a reboot, a restart, a reinvigoration. And for many people, that's what Black history means. For people who aren't in the place where Zach is, this gives them that opportunity to start. Like I always say, for Hoteps, I represent Hotep Nation. For Hoteps, ain't no Black History Month. It's Black history all year long. You know what I mean? So I used to have that same outlook as Zach. But now I try to look at the positive side of things. And so that's where, I'm looking at it now is, Black history is just a reboot for some people's consciousness that need it. For me, it means nothing, though. Like Zach said.
I gotta agree with both y'all. I get really disappointed and almost angry, but I have to hold that anger back because I don't want it to cloud my judgment in terms of how this country perceives Black folk. And it's almost offensive, the idea that there has to be such a thing as a Black History Month. But I also agree with Hotep Jesus in the idea that I got to also respect my ancestors and what they went through and what they had to struggle through. And Carter G. Woodson, at the time that he was alive, he was talking about a whole different, I sometimes say, I don't think I could have, maybe you had the strength to live a day in some of the trauma and the outrage and some of the brutality that some of our ancestors had to go through. And sometimes I want to take the time when I think about Black History Month to reflect on all their strength and everything that they had to go through for us to be able to be where we are today. So I do tend to agree. I believe Black History Month, Black history should be 365 days a year. And that's why I'm really pushing for the idea that it's offensive that someone can graduate high school and know what a cell is and know how the function of the human body and stuff that they're never going to do in their career, and know sociology and psychology and all these different topics. You can know algebra and calculus that you're never going to use, but you don't know about the struggle of the Black community and the history of the Black community, the legacy of African studies, and I feel like Black history saved my life, because I grew up in the heart of Fort Lauderdale. The school that I went to was 90% Black. And like Zach, I came up in the 90s where, we tried to re-embrace African culture by wearing beads and medallion and our kente cloth, because we were being told we were thugs, drug dealer, baby mama. Everything negative is what we were being told. And when we walked into a Black history class, it was like, you're a king, you're a queen, and don't let all that get into your head. You are royalty. And I think that's what it means to me, definitely. But I agree with both of y'all. It really doesn't mean anything. But even if it gives somebody, just like George Floyd's death, I think that his killing really unplug people from the matrix. So if some of these things, even though it's negative, like an idea of a Black History Month, can make someone say, you know what, I got to reframe and we got to be a little bit more intentional. If it can do that, then that part I will agree with. But the idea of it as just a monolithic, oh, this is where you're supposed to celebrate your culture, I definitely don't agree with that part of it.
I mean, I can't say that I totally agree, because for me, a Black kid growing up in Chicago, and grew up in an all Black neighborhood, went to all Black schools, Black History Month was my exposure to our history and our contribution. And that has meant the world to me. Right. And so for me to say it doesn't mean nothing would be me being disingenuous to how I was brought to where I am now. And I think for a lot of Black kids right now across the country, it may still be the only time that in school that they are exposed to African-American history and our contribution to this country and the world. So I can't say that it means nothing, because it's absolutely meant something. I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for Black History, my program in third grade.
I understand that. I respect that too. Yeah, Brandon.
I just go back and forth with, it means a lot to, acknowledge our ancestors, but I think we need to start acknowledging more ancestors. I get it with Martin, Malcolm, but why we don't throw, like Huey P. Newton in there? Like why we don't throw people in there? It's like we had some of our ancestors belong on the Mount Rushmore, but I think we need to acknowledge more. It's like our same ancestors are used every month of February, like just as a friendly reminder, psychologically have me thinking like, yeah, y'all killed them. Or y'all manipulated some of our own people to go against us, and that's how they got killed. They don't mention Fred Hampton. They don't mention Huey P. Newton, people like that, because those are the people, to me, that, went about it totally different when you speak of our ancestors. So I go back and forth.
It's crazy that you say that, because go ahead, Hotep.
Yeah, so I just want to speak up to the contrast between Zach, Liz, Corey. So Corey represents that mind that I was talking about, right? Where I said it's going to spark one individual. I think it's not even a counter, but to analyze that situation, what I'm seeing is that it speaks more about how backward we are as a people, that it would take a month to reboot us.
Yeah.
If our culture was moving, for example, like our organization, Hotep Nation, where we celebrate our leaders from Africa all across the diaspora all year long, Black History Month wouldn't mean anything to Corey. But the fact that Corey wasn't surrounded by Hoteps is why it means something to him. And I think that's the problem, is that the culture doesn't do a good enough job of celebrating us and only us all year round, 365.25.
What do you think needs to change, Hotep, for people so kids don't have to rely on the month of February to get that reboot?
You gotta love yourself. Everybody love everything that the white man created. They don't love nothing that we created, except for the bullshit. You look at the most popular things in our culture. The most popular things in our culture are white creations. Louis Vuitton, Moet. I mean, they have literally on the stock exchange one company that owns our most popular brands: LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. They've monopolized us as a culture. NBA, NFL, these are all white creations, which we don't sit on the board of. And if we do, we have very little representation of, but yet we are the draw that fill those things.
I like to chime in on your question, if you could rephrase it or repeat it, was what do you think we need to do?
What do you think
Jose?
should happen? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think everyone on this panel should elect me as the leader of Black people, right? And I think all of us, right, I'm dead serious about what I'm talking about right now. Dead serious what I'm talking about.
You sound like me. You sound like me because that's the shit I be on. I want to be a communist dictator. You feel me?
Maybe we need that right now because what's happening right now is not working. So
as long as you know the Messiah dies first, feel free to lead, right? But overall, and part of me, I don't mean to be arrogant or dismissive when I speak as your elder. It's just what it is for me. I don't know how old any one of y'all. I'm 51. So, let's say 7 of us, right? I think it's 6 of us on this. So we definitely need more Black women because if we elect more Black women, we bring in the nurturing. Men have clearly demonstrated by the indoctrination of North America that they are going to destroy and continue to conduct themselves in the manner of the meat eaters and the savages and the savagery of white people. I don't have a problem with white people being white people because white people being a white person who loves Black people versus Tyrone that's selling crack in the hood. If I had to lynch one of them, it would be Tyrone, right? So he don't get a pass just because he's Black. And I'm not making excuses for nobody. And I think, I don't think. My life has shown me violence is the most effective tool to get people to cooperate. So let's say I was the leader, right? And let's say the 7 of us created a flag tonight. And we said the name of this new United Utopia, or something like that, right? And we said, all right, we're going to come up with an ideology, right? And then we build on a regular basis and say, this is what's going to happen when the leadership gets too big. And Hotep is going to be criticizing me saying, yo, the OG is bugging out. He don't know what he's talking about. I need to elect me as leader instead. And not because of who Hotep is, but who Earthlings, the way Earthlings move. This is how we move for different reasons. Then when the 7 of us all become multimillionaires, we got to have contingencies in place with that because Negroes is going to act real niggerish when they get millions. It's going to be different, right? But let's just say, I'm going to give y'all a blueprint, and Brandon got on and said he got his pen and pad. I suggest everybody go and get your pen and pad because I'm going to give you a lot of stuff that you should just run with and create institutions with, right? So we have a flag so people identify because the sheep need new shepherds. One more time. The sheep need new shepherds. Then the scary Negroes definitely need somebody to put heart in them and show them how to have some big dick energy and show them how to be Black and how to be strong, right? So then now you got a good third of Black people moving with your ideology right there, right? And then you show them how we can start creating gated communities, right? Hotep gated communities. You heard that, Hotep Jesus? So I don't know where Hotep Jesus lives at, right? But when I came to Florida and came across so many gated communities, I realized how people live in these bubbles. And in those bubbles, they like oblivious to the shit that go on in my hood of the South Bronx. They don't know nothing about it, right? They don't know what it is to grow up in a war zone. Oblivious. It's kind of like they get a pass for their racist views because they just really have never exposed to nothing. And they're severely dysfunctional. So now we're going to start creating developments starting in our own hood, because this is what your generation, you younger people need to realize, right? They show y'all every day with gentrification that the same landmass is the same landmass. It's just about the attitude, the money, and controlling the politics, right? You control the people control the politics control the law enforcement, right? Everybody on this panel that know all your low-life cousins that ain't never gonna be shit, you need to send them into the police force. And you can spot it. You can spot it like at the freshman year of high school. Yeah, shorty ain't gonna be shit. Listen, come here. I got a career for you. You're gonna get a pension. You're gonna get insurance. You're gonna get health care. Go up in the police precinct. We need to flood the police precinct. And Rose, you gotta let me know when I'm talking too much. I gotta stop you. So for instance,
no, you're good.
For instance, the invention, I want everybody to go do your history on where the term cops come from, right? These were Irish gangs that took copper, made badges so they could identify each other to police their community. And then when they put their people in a political position in parts of New York, because the aristocrats of New York wanted to just, Irish was the first real hardcore niggas in New York City. Right? I mean, they
Philly too.
them.
Philly too. Yeah. Philly too, and also the fire departments.
Okay, correct. So what they said was, oh, we're gonna create a union, which is just a gang, just a fraternity, just a tribe. It's all different language, just language. And they said, everybody that's Irish is gonna be a police officer. And then the Polish and Italians started saying, oh, the coppers, the ones that carried all the coppers. And now we have what we call the cops, right? And you go to any of these Boston, Philly, New Jersey, they got the police force on lock in terms of the commanders, right? So now in our same hood, if we start buying up the block, right, from our nation, just our nation alone, right? And then we sit rappers down, right? And there's a thing called a 50 caliber. It's about this long, right? Desert Eagle, right? And you start putting it in the mouth of a lot of these rappers, not in violence, right? And saying, you made $1 billion last year. We're gonna need 100 million to build our community, and you maintain ownership though. But stop acting like we not here. Stop acting like you don't come from here. Peace, God bless you, Hotep, assalamu alaikum, and you back up and leave. And it's like, yo, who was that, right? Now, every blood, every Crip, every Netta, every Gangster Disciple, every Pyro Nation, all of them go, yo, I want to be down with that United Utopia, because I just need a father. I need a mother. I just need something to belong to, because I don't have no family, right? So now, you like, you know, maybe overnight, you might be, oh no, whoa, I forgot we got social media, right? So if you know how Clubhouse just blew up and took off, that's an example of how the nation could take off, right? As long as your ideology is in check. So now the problem is gonna be when we had to practice polygamy, the way they assassinate Black men is through your cock and through your paper. They assassinate your money, or they assassinate you by the activities you conduct yourself in. Because your nature is your nature. You're not made for one woman. And the women is going to say, lead king, lead Black man. And they're going to bow down. And then somehow they're going to try to throw some kids in there, right? That you slept with some kids. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, look into who Malachi York is. Right? Malachi York was a man who had what was called the Ancillary community. They sold books, incense, stuff like that at first to make their money in Brooklyn. Then they turned into a nation. Then they started buying up Georgia. Then they started building pyramids in Georgia. And
Yeah, that's facts.
And the minute he said, yo, it's like 3,000 white militias all over America that train with guns every day. All of y'all gonna start buying guns. We're gonna train our kids to shoot guns. Oh, nope, you're a pedophile. Lock your ass up for life. We got all these people that's saying that you was trying to rape their kids. And now the Ansar community has been dismantled. They put them away. Look in the history of the El Rukans. Look in the history of the Moorish Science Temple in America. Whenever we build as a nation, see, that's my Black History Month. That's what I need. That's the kind of Black history I need. Marcus Garvey movement. I need that history. They're not gonna do that. So Brandon do skits. I write movies, right? So now we start doing these little 30-minute skits / short films of memorizing Black radicalism. And we start with Assata Shakur, that's still alive, right? Where her guns stayed on, her guns stayed on cock. And she told you if they'll come for me in the morning, they'll definitely come for you at night. We look at how the Black Panther movement, what COINTELPRO, y'all need to look up that, COINTELPRO, how they just started creating conspiracies of Black people giving dudes life in prison because they was just talking about feeding kids lunch and policing the police, right? We don't need to rush to capital. We need to build our own capital, right? Capital with an O and capital with an A. We need to build both of those, right? We need to designate the poorest state. I picked New Orleans, Louisiana, because I don't like the snow anymore, right? So we picked the poorest shit that the same way they threw chitlins on the floor and we made a delicacy, the same way they throw away the land and we take that and we farm, right? In the same way, everybody runs out, me included, runs out and buy plastic. It's plastic. Louis Vuitton and Gucci, it's plastic. It's not even leather. It's like a refined, great plastic that we spend $6,000 for because we don't know our own self-worth. And when I come through with that Gucci, they like that. So we look at Beyonce and Jay-Z, with the 50 caliber at the front of their lawn, and there's 100 of us having a cookout at Jay-Z's mansion or Rick Ross's mansion. And he's like, yo, who? What the? And we say, nah, hey, brother, how you doing? But listen, while we here, we gonna need you to create a luxury line. We need luxury bags from you and suitcases, and we're gonna take away Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Moet, this, that, and other. Oh yeah, 50, Jay-Z, and Puffy, and Rose. Yeah, we're gonna make one champagne that Black people drink. And we're gonna take the money from that product, because if you looking for the utopia where Black folks just gonna stop drinking, ain't gonna work.
That's funny you said that.
If you're not catching people where they at, feed babies baby food, y'all. Stop trying to give babies whole meals, especially y'all like Hotep Jesus and Corey, and y'all just like blacker than Black. So y'all scary Negroes to some people, and I'm talking about Black people. Like, yo, you talking what? Nah, that's too much thinking for me. I need a video game, I need some liquor, and I need to smash something tonight. And why we don't have a Black Viagra company, I don't know. Why are we not? See what I'm saying? Like, we got to meet the ignorance with a little bit of more wisdom.
I was just in Miami drinking Grey Goose with porn stars. I think you got me fucked up.
Okay, yeah, I definitely got you fucked up, and I like you better. Make sure you get my number before this is over. Definitely. I live
Most deaf.
right down the block from Miami right now. So, yeah, next time, I like porn stores too. So, anyway, my point is, if you meet people where they at and you show them this is a better way, right? And you show them here's the counteraction to everything we don't like.
Yeah.
We just gonna remix it, and then here's the icing on the cake, y'all. You gotta designate a white woman for every black man.
Explain it. Talk it.
That's the greatest way to get back at racists, man. You pound the shit out of their women ideologies start changing, because this land right here was made to please the Beckys and the Karens of the world. These bitches get on TV, on video, viral video, asking for permits for you to barbecue. And the whole country says, why is she wrong? Because you don't need a fucking permit. But they love her so much. They work so hard for her, right? And whatever she complains about, they fix it. Let me tell you the story about Eleanor Roosevelt. When it came to Martin Luther King and the civil rights era, the only reason Martin became Martin, and the only reason why you see him every month, Brandon, is because there's a thing that was invented at that time called television. And she sat down and said, yo, they biting people? You don't have control over these police officers. This is her husband, the president of the United States of America at the time. She said, you don't have control over these poor white trash police officers, that this is what the world is saying about our country, that we sick. It ain't because they was black. It was the savage mentality and actions being popularized. You need to go down there and fix that shit, or I'm gonna take the side of black people. Woo! Oh, we need to meet with these people. Get these Negroes up here. We need to see what's going on. And then they started changing laws, because if you don't know, integration destroyed us.
Yo, let me help for the culture out here. Zach gave us a mouthful. We could just end the cast right there. It's over, man. Thank you for that. Everybody go home. That's the plan. We moving ahead. Say nah. Let me say
no lies detected. I mean, if you think about Daughters of Confederacy, all these statues of people trying to pull down, who we think putting them statues up? White women, because they uphold the racist philosophy, and the white man just basically caped for it. So no lies detected there.
I just want to add one piece, which is just and I'm sure this is in Zach's plan. He just probably didn't mention it. But if we look at Chinese history, I love understanding how Chinese went from, below Japan, below America, all the Western powers, to like being practically number one right now. Just in 100 years alone. When China first started, they were an agrarian culture, which means they were just basically farmers. They didn't have shit. Really fucked up country.
You know why?
What's that?
You know why they were treated that way?
Treated what way?
Having what's called a fucked up country.
Why is that?
Because before you cut me off, part of my plan was the executives of our nation have to move to China and buy up China the way they buying up everything else.
Yeah.
So China, as y'all know, I'm assuming y'all already know the difference between Upper Kemet, Lower Kemet, Upper Asia Minor, and Asia Major. So Chinese are Africans.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was literally about to say that, but most people don't know that. But yeah.
Yeah, and they were the first Africans who created gunpowder. And when you created gunpowder, they learned how to make cannons. And the whites said, we need this. And we got to make you so poor and so dependent that you can never use your warriors against us, your war tools against us, your unity and discipline, because you have all that African blood running through you. Mm-hmm. All Chinese is Africans that migrated up to the north.
Yep.
Yeah, now the only reason why I cut you off, Zach, was because I know it's like only 20 minutes left, and I wanted to make sure everybody
I'm glad you cut me off.
Yeah, because I want to make sure everybody got a chance to talk. That's
yes,
the
sir.
reason
You're
why.
right. My bad.
No, it's all good. It's passion. I love it. And I know Big Chief is here. He didn't get a chance to speak and all of that. And
Big Chief, what's going on? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Peace. Peace, everybody. Man, appreciate you sending me the link, to come be a part of it. And I've listened to the brother Zach Bill, but I'm the Big Chief legendary top cat, you feel me? And I teach Black, Indian, Aboriginal history, you feel me? Yeah, my ancestors fought against U.S. expansion during the Red Stick and Seminole War.
Where are you located?
I'm from Texas. I'm in Texas.
Where can we find this curriculum? Is it published anywhere? Because I'm very interested in that history.
It's not a curriculum, but I'm talking about the story of the Seminoles or what story?
Yeah, because a lot of people, I say, the natives was black, and people be like, nah, he wasn't black. And here
that's simple. They was black. I come from, Osceola, or people know him as Billy Paul. That was my ancestor. Yeah. My other ancestor, Bud Coker Franklin, he was a Chickasaw. We hear about the Tulsa, Oklahoma, but he actually represented them and represented the survivors of the massacre. And they wasn't gonna rebuild Tulsa, but he actually went in and got them to rebuild it. And shout out to Al Edwards, that's my other ancestor. He just passed from COVID this year, but he founded Juneteenth down here in Texas for us.
Man, that's big.
Now, when I asked it, where you had the curriculum published, you say when you teach that. I was just wondering where you teach it. Is it like in person?
I have a podcast on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a podcast on YouTube, Legendary Podcast, but I be on Clubhouse now, though. I don't really be on YouTube now.
I got you.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. And Big Chief, before you got in here, we had to ask everybody, what does Black History Month mean to them? I'm not sure if you wanted to chime into that.
I just say this, it's every day should be Black History Month, you know what I'm saying? But this is a time to honor our ancestors, you know what I mean? And I'm real big on genealogy. I'm real big on knowing your family tree. You feel me? So if you haven't done that, tap back in. That's Black history to me. You know what I mean? Knowing your family tree, knowing who you are and where you come from, and the greatness that your line has brought, and hopefully you can, write your name on, in the cement and doing something to help liberate our people.
Yo, Corey, what was your thoughts on some of the things Zach said while he was talking? You had a lot of different range of emotions. So I want to get your take.
I think my background is educationally and part of my professional career has been in public policy and politics, right? And I was listening, and some of the thoughts were, well, shit, we can't even get Black folk to agree on, Monique came out and said, Netflix is stiffing me. I got an Oscar. Let's boycott Netflix. And, Black folk couldn't even take your $6.99 back, right? From Netflix. Or, this back and forth between the people who think we should be listening to R. Kelly and the people who think we shouldn't be listening to R. Kelly. Like, we can't even agree, like, which colors we should wear on a particular day. And so I'm always thinking, like, what does it take to get us all on one page? or how we select leaders in our community, when we have seen that when we elevate people in our community, either they sell out or bought out or are murdered, right? And so it doesn't make us to continue to play into this Messiah complex of selecting a person and doing this and that, rather than building organizations and building community, right? We can talk about, creating our own this or that. Well, I like, right? And so I start to think, what can we do on an individual level and then build out? Because we've attempted to create communities that were predominantly Black and have gated communities, like communities in PG County.
Oh, we got them.
Right? And PG County in the 90s and 2000s was the highest per capita income of Black folk in the country, the highest concentration of degrees and advanced level degrees in the country, also had the highest rate of police brutality, also had the lowest rate of the counties for education in the state of Maryland. And that was run by Black folk, right? And so this utopic idea of isolating ourselves and creating our own doesn't seem to serve us either. And I think a large part of that is from where we started off this conversation about what we know, right? Yeah. And if we aren't educating our communities, if we aren't doing this every day of the year, right? If we aren't hammering and pouring and building this into our communities all the time, we will always come out short. There's something beautifully scientific about restricting Black folks' ability to read and write and educate themselves. I'm masterful.
Go ahead. I was gonna get into.
And 400 years later, we're still dealing with the effects of that. And so for me, the counter is always how we educate ourselves and what we do with that education.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear from Liz and then Brandon.
Yeah, I tend to agree that education is a key. I feel as though sometimes we're asking people to kind of do advanced concepts before they even have a foundational knowledge of self. I think a lot of that is why our young people are so lost, and even grown adults and people that should know better don't know better because they've been taught a false narrative. So I tend to embrace the idea, even though we kind of started off by saying, Black history doesn't mean anything. I think that's really more of the frustration of understanding that our history is really marginalized. Our history is something that is pigeonholed into a month, and it just seems unfair because we're all taught the majority culture's history, and everywhere you turn, you see it. When you walk out your door, you have the double consciousness that W.B. Du Bois talked about, where your head is on a swivel because everything is catered toward, as Zach alluded to, their needs, their wants, their whatever fantasy they have in their head. That's basically what you're going to be a victim of if you happen to come across the wrong person. So I do feel as though we need to know self, educating our young people in the school systems, out of the school system. I homeschool my children because I just don't trust the school system. And I'm a 20-year educator. So there is a sense of us not really understanding our own legacy, our own history, our own ancestry. And then the dominant culture painting a narrative of the savage, the brute, the Jezebel, whatever narratives have been created, and then everyone being at the whim of something that's really just literally a fantasy. So I definitely feel like the foundational knowledge is in history and making sure that we have a correct knowledge of where we came from. And as the beautiful poet, activist, and novel memoir writer, Maya Angelou said, you cannot know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. So we have to start with knowledge of self. We have to sit with ourselves and really be self-reflective about who we are. And like Corey said, and Zach and Hotep, and everybody's talked about their background and their legacy and how they view themselves. We're not a monolith. We think differently, but I think we definitely have to start with self, and then we can move forward from there.
I agree. Brandon?
What was the question again? I forgot the question.
Hotep, you're on mute.
You muted
Am I?
yourself.
No. You know, just give us your thoughts on, you know, anything that has occurred during this conversation. What Zach said, Corey,
Okay.
Liz, you know, just chime in as far as, you know, what we discussed already.
Well, I live in Philadelphia, where we are the poorest city amongst the largest cities. Philadelphia is probably the 5th or the 6th largest city in America. And amongst being one of the poorest cities, we have one of the worst education system amongst your largest cities as well. I'm talking about New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, like that. Pennsylvania will fund a state prison 43 to 49,000 a year per prisoner. It will only fund a public school 6 to 9,000 per public school student. They build prisons off of third grade test scores.
Yep.
So third grade test scores is the reason. So they already have a strategic plan, and they go off of these plans, and they go through trial and error like they do everything else. One of the issues that I found out with Black men is we try to be so. What we try to do is debate each other's thoughts. We try to be alpha males towards each other. We try to use the systems that's been created to destroy us against us. A lot of our Black men will prove that we can go to jail or die instead of proving that we could be successful and live, right? And these are the things that I speak about when I'm on my platform. I mean, and again, it's a psychological warfare. No matter how smart you are, no matter how intelligent you are, you can know all the large words, you can know all your history. The bottom line is, how can we put to, you know, some people may not comprehend big words. Some people may not comprehend being intelligent. Sometimes you just got to speak on the level of the people, right? And like when I speak on psychological warfare, right? Look at reality TV shows. They speak down on men. Let's talk about Love and Hip Hop, for instance. That started out with men, and it ended up with women and talking down on men. If you look at shows, look at Power. Guess who wins at the end? The white man. Guess who wrote that movie? A Black woman. These are the things if you look at white people, they're coming up with ways. They say, well, you know what? We're going to split this thing half and half. Some of our white people are going to have to start having interracial couples. They're going to have to start dealing with Black women or Black men, right? You got the other half that's saying, fuck that. I don't care about Black people at all. If you believe in global warming, this is why they're pushing the narrative of interracial couples. Again, I don't care. I don't care about that at all. I love Black women. You know, I love Black descent women. Whether you from, you know, no matter where you from, Black women are Black women regardless. And they're pushing this narrative of, you know, interracial marriage or couples because their system is, listen, 100 years from now, we might not even be around. And I will be damned as an ancestor to not come up with a system to keep our people going. So when they say things like, you know, Black men, we losing in every category but death and in jail. So yes, every woman love a Black man, but they only love us for either our money or our private parts. That's it. Not all Black women. Now, let's be clear. I'm not talking about all Black women or all women. I'm just speaking on why we are the target for people, for every man other than Black men, well, including Black men, to get rid of us, right? And every woman love us as Black men due to two things: our physique, our money, and our body parts. So with that being said, all together, this is a psychological warfare. And regardless of what, you got Chicken George, you got Uncle Tom's, you would think to yourself, why didn't Kobe? Why didn't Michael Jordan? Why didn't all the black greats, NBA players, football players say, fuck that, I'm not paying for the NBA. We're going to create our own. You want to know why? Because it's a psychological warfare. That means that psychological warfare's power is more powerful than money. We've been used to a system so long that we're afraid to go away from the system. We're afraid that somebody, and another thing, we always have our own turn against us because everybody want to be a leader. But once it's time for you to be the leader, then you blame somebody else. This goes with any level of Black America. Any level of Black America.
So what do we do about it?
Again, this is a fight. This is a fight where we say, well, the inner home is dysfunctional. So since the home is dysfunctional, the resources have to be the next step. But the resources are dysfunctional. And this is why our kids go astray. Everybody say it starts at home, right? Okay, well, the home is dysfunctional. What is the next resource for a child? The next resource for a child is our school system. That is the very next resource. And I used to teach. I taught kindergarten for 2 years. I taught 7th grade for 6 years. And I taught high school for 2 years. And let me explain something to you. These kids are coming to do everything but learn. They come in to cry. They come in to laugh. They come in to eat. They come in to sleep because it's a different ball game at home. So how do we go knocking on each door saying, this is the new way? This is the new system.
You want a solution?
No, well, I mean, just finishing my thought because.
Oh, yes, sir. Pardon me.
Because the thought of a solution, everybody got a great solution. We all have great solutions. The problem is we don't trust each other. And the problem is what I'm doing in my city, I am out here every day. And the one thing that these Black people are trying to do, they're giving you the bare minimum of life. They're giving you the bare minimum of motivation. They're giving you the bare minimum of which ways to go and how to go. Nobody's speaking on the harsh reality. And the reason why don't nobody want to speak on the harsh reality is because the harsh reality don't get you paid. The harsh reality don't get you or the house on the hill. So everything that we saying right here is real, but it don't go no further than us because it's not real enough to make money behind it. So yeah, I mean, I got more to say, but I don't want to overbear people. So that's how, it's a psychological warfare. That's the end of my analogy.
Liz, did you have anything you wanted to say before you leave?
I wanted to see something. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Liz. I got to say something. Yeah.
You're muted.
Yeah, I just want to just really reiterate everything that Brandon said is the truth. From working in the school system, there's a lot that needs to be addressed, and it goes beyond just education. It goes beyond just the knowledge. It also is the resources, and our schools are very underfunded, very under-resourced. The teachers that are in there don't have the proper resources that they need. And the children don't have the resources. So definitely have a lot to unpack as a community. And I think, honestly, even though sometimes we get frustrated about conversations have to be had. And at least we can kind of get these ideas out in the open. So those of us that are willing to do the work, maybe we can at least mobilize the resources together. And I really feel like there is a way forward. But, the conversations are at least a starting point. We weren't having these conversations last year, not in this volume that I've seen over the past few months. So I'm still trying to be hopeful that we can try to make change.
What's your Instagram?
Yeah, exactly.
My Instagram, my IG is Your Queen to Be. You are Queen TOB. Your Queen to Be. So follow me on there because I definitely love connecting with like-minded people.
That and the conversation could inspire younger people too.
For sure,
yeah,
absolutely.
Most definitely.
Can I speak to
chime in?
Go ahead, Clark.
As far as with the Black history and what we see with other communities and how they run their thing, they do police themselves, So like going off of what Hotep and Zach take, like, I hate to say it, got to be extreme like that, because to be honest, they police themselves so well. We don't even know if they're really doing those extreme things. Like Zach said, you know, taking the 50 cal and, you know, we got to do, you know, so to speak, you got to do that, you know, sit them down, be like, look, this is our structure. You're going to heed to it. If not, then you're on your own, you know? So you
Let's
have to
be very clear. I am
Yeah.
not advocating violence.
No
Thank you.
violence. You know,
Thank
I
you.
said, so to speak, you know, yeah. No, I said, so to speak though, but yeah, you know, but you know, that's what they're doing. So it's just like, you see the Samoan people too, like the Samoan people, they have their own gangs and people don't even know. They have this, they're called Sons of Samoa. So, but they police themselves so well, you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? They police their community. Like the Asian people, they got all these gangs, they got all this, not just gangs, but just the way they do things. They have things that go on in the background. If somebody violates, you don't hear about it because they police themselves. And they have a money stream. Huh?
I want to speak to the point
so,
that Corey made. You know, yeah. Corey brought up the fact that, you know, when we try to create these communities that are all black, they end up in a backwards position. And it doesn't matter what color your skin is if your ideology is screwed up. What we have are blacks in power who have a liberal socialist ideology. So you're basically still being led by mentally white people and white ideas. I think what Zach is talking about is having these same black communities with a completely different ideology, and you'll see things change.
That's true. Like even that idea to, it's basically policing ourselves. That's basically what we have to do. And I hate to say, I mean, I know that blueprint is not the same as the
curate
other,
the culture.
You know, the other civilizations, cultures that, you know, I was bringing up, but I believe it would work. You know, because that's how all these civilizations stay together and stay organized.
You're saying we should manicure the culture. That's pretty much what you're trying to say. You know, policing, I think, is going to give off the wrong idea. Yeah. Manicure the culture. Yeah. And real quick, I just want to say one thing to Brandon about the lady issue. Women are the progenitors of life. So they're biologically predisposed to be hypergamous and choose mates based upon their sexual prowess. So that problem right there ain't something that's going to go away. That's definitely biological, and it's a good thing because that's how they select good mates. I think us as men have to rise to the occasion and have big dick energy and big wallet energy. And then once you have, because that's like the woman's basic needs, right? So once you solve her basic needs, then we can ascend her mind to the next level.
Also, when you talk about that, all joking aside, if women, I don't know how many of you deal with multiple women, right? So I'm pro poly lifestyle, right? And women have come to tear down women so much that issue, and I would like the brothers to stop using the word problem, right? And replace it with the word issue. Right. So in order for women to stop tearing down women, they need to know they're not competing for those two things that Brandon was talking about. That there's enough to go around and you're not going to be left behind. Because when Europeans created this monogamy and legalized it and told us to abandon the women and just stick to one, and all the other ones will just be left behind. That's what made them feel like they got to keep competing against each other, and they got to outdo each other, and they got to tear each other down in order to get the prize, right? So once the mindset changes. Now, what Corey was saying was kind of part of what Corey mentioned was kind of what the old school non-effective approach was. And is that we all don't have to agree, Corey, because we all come from different tribes. We all come from different parts. We all move differently. We all ain't gonna make it. We all ain't gonna have knowledge of self. But it's ways, if you really want to be effective, to use Like I said, give babies baby food. You catch everybody where they at, and you just plant seeds. Just be the farmer that adds value everywhere you go. This is what I'm asking all the black men here to do. Add value everywhere you go every day. That's it, right? And then the sheep is gonna go, hey, can you give me some food? And can you give me some warmth and acceptance? Can you validate me, Brandon and Corey? And when you go, yes, follow me on Instagram, right? You're seeing in your generation what social media is creating. It's creating followers. So if someone has 4 million followers and you plant the seed into the person that has 4 million followers, and you get 2 and 3 people that have 4 million followers to start throwing out the fruits of the seed that you planted in them, you just influence 12 million followers. That doesn't mean you personally have to stand on your soapbox and preach, and those 12 million got to make you a God, because that's the problem where men fail. They always want to be God, not realizing they already did. You're already God, right? So if you are saying to the person, I don't want to throw out a name, but let's say a comedian, because that's what black people like, to be entertained. And let's say you influence that comedian who has 4 million followers, right? And you planted seeds and you said, this is the way. And that person is always talking about, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. And it starts catching on. It's simple. Everything you're saying is a problem just been quelled. It's just introducing new ideologies, new cultures, new way of looking at things. And once we start moving in that direction, boom, got a new way of life. All right, power to the people. So, no, my brother just walked in. Yeah, so it's just that simple. And with our women, we don't have to fight anymore for them. We don't have to fight over them anymore. And with the institutions, you know, Brandon, you spoke a lot, and I don't know where we're going with the time to stop me, or let's just keep rocking out if we can. I don't know, but we're not holding the black church accountable, and that's all we got to do. We got to create bylaws that if you have a mega church, you got to have a community center, and you got to have a senior center, and you got to have a daycare center. Or the pastor can't have a Bentley or an airplane. That's simple. And when the pastor...
I'm just to speak on that, not to cut your wisdom, but I'm not a fan of, you know, using religion when we bringing our people together, because that's the reason why we're separated. In my book, I just believe that I think we're Black Americans that believe that they come from wherever you come from, or whatever the case may be. We are just like, Black Americans are just totally different from any Blacks in the country. Bottom line. Because if you go to Africa, they follow a system. You go to Jamaica, it's a system. You go to shout out to Haiti. You go there, they follow a system. You go anywhere that's Black oriented, it's a system. Black Americans are the only ones that are confused with a system.
You know why?
I do know why.
Okay.
Or at least I think I know why, for my personal reasons. You know, so I'm not going to say my reason is the right reason.
Well, we the only one by design after design to self-destruct.
Fact.
Everybody else fall in line by colonialism, right? All the other places you name, right? Everyone else had leadership. Everyone else had revolts because they had an identity. Here, you get into this melting pot mindset, and by design, like, I love hip hop. I love hip hop. I love hip hop. I love hip hop. But if I tell you hip hop is the most destructive force to Black people, you're gonna be like, yo, I gotta give up Jay-Z. Damn. Word, son? You serious? Right? Because it's indoctrination, right? So by design, we always given tools to kill each other, one way or the other. The reason why I'm not asking you to love Jesus, I'm not asking you to love the church. I'm telling you to hold them accountable, because you gotta have something in place for Black people to be able to dance and sing. We are the most connected people to the Creator, and dancing and singing is part of our tradition. I can't hear you, Corey.
Yeah, whether you agree with it or not, more than 70% of Black folk in America identify as religious.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether I follow or Brandon follows doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, because either culturally or religiously, Black folk are showing up at church or a mosque.
Absolutely. And we need to control them.
I don't want nobody to think that I was. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. That using church as, or religion as the motto or whatever does not necessarily work or is necessarily effective. That's a point to have, except that we got more Black folks showing up at church than any other institution. And so to Zach's point about meeting people where they are, that's part of the reason I do the work.
You ain't going to listen. It's going to be hard to tell a religious person.
Listen, I know.
Brandon, don't tell them nothing. What are you talking about? No, you missing it. You missing it. You're not telling them nothing.
No. I heard you.
You telling the pastor.
No, I hear you.
This is what you gonna do.
Not facts. I hear you.
And the pastor's gonna tell them, this is what we gonna do, or he don't get another plane. He don't get another house.
Another Bentley.
I mean, and I'm not talking about every church.
Nah, I get it. I'm not.
Right? I'm talking about when you generated anything over $16 million annually from your congregation, you got to have a community center and you got to have a senior center.
Yeah, I can dig it, man. I can dig it.
And I had a question for you, Zach, or for everybody. So what do you think is the most effective way in 2020, like the path that Malcolm X was like his plan, or Martin Luther King?
They had the same plan. Same plan.
Well,
yeah,
but some people would think that Malcolm X was more aggressive and Martin Luther King was more.
You need both. You need both.
I like Huey P playing better.
I mean, Huey's plan, and this is why Huey was so dangerous. This is why the Black Panthers were so dangerous. When we make a community self-sufficient, when we give you the tools to build your own community, when we give you what you need to believe in yourself, right? Feeding Black folk, feeding niggas, so you don't need food stamps.
Somebody you missing though.
Jamal Joseph is a Black Panther, and he talks about when he joined the Black Panther Party in New York. He went to the leaders and was like, "Yo, where are my weapons? I'm ready." And he says the first thing they handed him were books, and taught them about the programming of the Black Panther Party, right? And that was what made them so problematic. Because there were folk walking around with guns out in California before the Black Panthers and after.
Right.
right? And so when you start doing work in community to build people and build self-sufficient communities, that's when it becomes problematic, right? For those who would seek to destroy our communities, right? And so I think that it's necessary to have Hueys. It's necessary to have Nat Turners. It's necessary to have Fred Hamptons and Stokely Carmichaels. But it's also necessary to have Barbara Jordan. It's also necessary to have Shirley Chisholms and A. Philip Randolphs, right? All of those are necessary. And the thing about both Martin and Malcolm, right? That play about if they had that meeting together, that both of them were coming towards each other's position.
They did.
After the 4 little girls were killed, Martin was becoming more and more militant. At the Hajj, Malcolm was becoming more and more. Go ahead.
Wait a second. I'm gonna give you another narrative. Because the difference between one of them is one of them loved white women tremendously and one of them did not. So Martin was a bigger gangster than Malcolm. But the narrative that television gives us is that he was not. If you read the book of the FBI tapes of Malcolm and Martin, and you hear how Martin spoke of when he used the word, quote, when I'm fucking these white bitches, right? Quote, that's a quote from Martin Luther King, right? When they had the bugs under his bed. He could not speak a certain way, right? It's code switching. Everybody know what code switching is? So it's code switching on a national level. I'm a leader, I have a professional responsibility, and I speak a certain way to the people. But in my private life, I'm still a man, right? Martin was murdered because he was talking about radical change in the economy and how Black dollars.
Absolutely.
That's gangster all the way. That's Jesus Christ all over again. All over again. Black gangster, the first major Black gangster in history, Jesus Christ. First major lynching in history, Jesus Christ. For racism, Jesus Christ. So now, Malcolm, when he became El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, different ideology. Now he's more kumbaya. He's more, we all got to get along. And Martin is saying, what, brother? What happened? What are you talking about? Like, what happened to you? So they on the same side of the spectrum, just using different language. As Brandon would say, everybody can use big words. That's Martin. Malcolm is saying, niggas, pick up your guns. But there's one person you forgot to mention. Well, I'll give you 2. You can't have Huey without having Elijah Muhammad. So before you praise Huey, you got to praise Elijah Muhammad. In order to praise Elijah Muhammad, you got to praise Fard Muhammad. In order to praise Fard Muhammad, you got to praise Noble Drew Ali. Because they said, we don't eat our products. We farm and we make our own. And the land is everywhere in abundance for us to do it, right in the middle of Philly where the abandoned lots is. In New York, they was turning all the empty lots into farms at one time, right? Teaching the kids agriculture. And then, certain folks in charge don't like you to be able to feed yourself, protect yourself, and nurture your woman on your own. They don't like that. They need you dependent. And that's Democrats. Democrats need y'all dependent. We need y'all to be dependent on us for everything. Don't be self-sufficient. Elijah Muhammad created the products, created the canning companies, created the farms. My people buy your products at half the price from us and the money goes back to us. We could do it tomorrow. Koya do it. It ain't like we don't see the business model. This is my point. Like, everything y'all saying is a problem, is only an issue because we just got to follow somebody else that's doing it. And once the paper is there and we decide, you know how cool it'd be if each of us had $1 million and said we moving to China and we gonna build China and suit our needs the way we want Black needs right here because we got the money to do it. People fall in line. If we did it in Ghana, people fall in line. If we did it in Nigeria, it's gonna be rough, but if we do it in the Bahamas, my plan, I'm gonna end up in Haiti. There's a reason Bill Clinton buying 30,000 acres in Haiti. There's a reason. It's right over there and it's paradise. It's right there from Miami and it's paradise. So when we talk about self-sufficiency and we talking about our communities and we talking about what needs to be done, don't use problems, use issues. Don't try to take people far away from what they can't relate to. If we just celebrate a rapper, yeah, it's unfortunate. If we celebrate a rapper who starts rhyming about Hotep Nation more, if we celebrate a rapper that's talking about Black men, I love y'all, my brothers, a little more. He can say nigga and bitch. He got to be able to reach the people because that's where they at. And then at the end, he say, but we praise God. It's just that simple, y'all. It's sad that our people is at this level of ignorance, but it's just that simple, that we are moved by music. Let me show y'all a phenomenon. Hotep, I need to see your eyes for a second. I'm gonna show you a phenomenon I want y'all to keep for the rest of your life, how easy it is to influence Black people. Bust it, bust it, bust it, bust it. Unbelievable, man. Got your grandmama doing the bust it challenge. Got the babies doing bust it challenge. Got political people trying to do the bust it challenge. And you gonna talk about, no, you need refinement. Hey, get this glorified Negro out of here. No, you say, come on, let me show you how to bust it a different way. And they go, yeah, new challenge. The Blacker Than Black challenge. How Black are you during Black History Month? Come on, one of y'all start that challenge. How Black? I'm so Black that I remember Elijah Muhammad, blah, 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 blah. Let's make that go viral. The Blacker Than Black challenge. And it goes viral because somebody stupid or silly like Kevin Hart says, I know the Blacker Than Black challenge. I remember I bought Now and Later some popcorn out of the hood. And then it goes on and on and on and on. And now you have a different form of Black history. All you gotta do, man, smoke some real good weed and think and come up with some good ideologies and give it to the people because that's where they at, man. But trying to give them what they ain't got, man, they don't. Sit there with something like you smoking CBD. You CBD. Act like you smoking a blunt and you talking something, they gonna be like, word, that brother chopping. Like, I don't know if anybody know Brother Polite. Yeah, this bozo be saying the craziest stuff, and then he slipping something that's phenomenal. Be like, damn, is he a cornball or is he a prophet? I don't know. It depends on which way you want to take it. The way I look at it is that he delivers the babies the baby food. I'm gonna shut up now.
I like what you said, Zach. I wanted to bring this up too before Corey go. The other day I was thinking about how Tom Brady can have a Donald Trump hat in his locker room, but if LeBron was to say he was friends with Farrakhan, they would cancel him.
I don't believe that.
You don't think so? Because
I mean, come on.
Because I seen people on social media
Absolutely.
say if you post Farrakhan, you with Farrakhan and you're evil.
That's it.
You talking about from white people? You talking about from white people or Black?
It's a wrap.
Yeah, for white people. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and we don't run to each other's defense in response to it. That's the other side.
And we didn't support
you
Trump
might not,
the way
you
we
might
should
not
have.
necessarily agree. Clark, you on mute, man. But yeah, if LeBron did do it, we wouldn't run to his defense.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw that with Colin Kaepernick.
I beg to differ.
We couldn't stop watching the game.
But I beg to differ with the comparisons, because football, sports, respectfully, sports feeds our dopamine. So a lot of people are going to continue to watch sports. But I think people will be in defense of LeBron James.
Okay.
That's just me personally, though. That's not a debate. I just don't. Now, if LeBron James said stop watching the NBA, then Colin Kaepernick, if he was as good as Tom Brady, then I think people would stop watching the NFL. If LeBron James said stop watching the NBA, everybody would stop.
No, they would not.
I mean, all right, cool.
You know why? You know why, Brandon? I got a YouTube thing that I posted for my podcast years ago about how to create your own NFL, right?
Uh-huh.
If you take, you know what a Baba is?
No.
You got children?
I do. Oh, okay. I got you.
If you take the Baba away,
right,
you got to replace it with something, right?
Right.
I don't watch sports. I got better thing to do than watch big black men play with balls. I got better thing to do, right? Primarily getting some pussy. So if LeBron James said we are no longer dealing with the NBA, we are coming over here and we have this new league, and we're bringing in old players, street ball players who are uneducated, college players who don't want to be in college no more. All of them can come out and play.
Right.
You seen Ice Cube create that Big Three? Phenomenal. Created a whole new institution, a whole new lane, independent, and they sell out arenas everywhere, right? If LeBron said no more this, but now this, then people will start saying, then the NBA will start going, please, y'all, what we got to do? What we got to do to keep the plantation running? Come on. Here go a few $1 billion. That's what you need. That's all you have to say, right? Kaepernick with the NFL, the black elite didn't support it. It's too scary. Scary Negroes. Don't mess up my money. And Trump, we didn't have no black leadership that embraced him. They got caught into the hype. This dude is a bozo. Why not embrace him?
Facts.
That's the best mind to influence.
Facts.
He's a bozo.
Facts.
If he had a little more class, he probably would have got 12 years. They would have rewrote the Constitution for this buster.
Facts.
I'm gonna keep it tall with you. I'm gonna keep it like 1008 with you. Like, for me personally, I don't even vote, bro. Like, I don't even like.
Well, I can't, but
I would never ever believe in the system that failed us. So at the end of the day, like, I don't care who's president. You understand what I'm saying? All of them is bozos, if you ask me.
But you would go to the White House.
No, I wouldn't. Personally.
If they told you you can educate more children by going to the White House, you going.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because you maybe don't understand that politics is war without bloodshed.
No, I do understand that. I get it. That's why.
So if you get to go control the guns, why wouldn't you want to go?
No. But that's the difference. It's a difference between telling me I could go to the White House and then telling me that I need to be a part of the political party. No, I don't.
Can I play mitigator of this argument really fast?
And
sure.
And after that, I want to make one comment after you, Hotep, because I got another event to get prepped.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. I gotta go.
So with the whole Trump thing, I think what Zach is speaking about was the take that the black mind took was on the opposite side of the spectrum of what we could have taken and seen a difference in this country. You don't need to vote. I don't vote. I don't advocate for voting. I don't deal with that shit. But I know that Trump was a wrench in the system. And had we got behind him, we could have set white supremacy back another 4 years.
Oh, easily.
But we allowed the white liberal, the white media to trick us. And then now we got Biden in there. And we had a 9-year-old girl yesterday get fucking maced in Rochester, New York. Yeah. And that story came and went. Yeah. Had that been under Trump, it would still be trending. We'd see marches all across the globe. But because it's Biden in office, the liberals were like, we're not going to cover this story. There was a protest in Rochester, New York. The only people out there were Breitbart and right-wing media. CNN ignored that protest. Why? Because it doesn't fit their agenda anymore. They used Trump to manipulate black people, and we fell for it.
Yep.
And I agree with, and listen to me, I promise you, I agree with everything that y'all saying. At the end of the day, that's our problem. That's my only argument. We should have fuck what media was doing, whatever. We should have just been on it. That's all.
Well, listen, brothers, I would appreciate everybody on here to follow me at Great Zach Tate on Instagram. I have a program called Man Government Mondays, where we speak to Black men about fixing the problems of the world. And I would like each of you to be a guest on the week. I have somebody reach out to you once I have your, yes, sir. That's me. That's that handsome guy right there. Yeah. So
Zach, I'm gonna actually do a group chat with everybody too.
Okay. Well, I actually think we should do this like once a month, and it doesn't have to be for the podcast, just Black Men United.
Sure.
Something to think about. But
yeah, and Corey, I know Corey wanted to say something for you. He got to go.
Corey, let me hear that before I go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we talked about a couple things, and I think a really important baseline for people is the Children's Defense Fund released this this paper called the Cradle to Prison Pipeline. Brandon actually mentioned some of the stats that are in that. It came out originally in 07 or 08, and they updated or released a new report in 2020. So if you're trying to figure out ways to understand and then to affect community differently, a good place to start is by reading the Children's Defense Fund Cradle to Prison Pipeline. It'll shed some light on a whole lot of different things. I know the Netflix documentary 13th got people thinking and seeing stuff differently. But Cradle to Prison Pipeline, Marian Elderman has been doing that work for as long as most of us have been born, and it's a dope ass document. It'll really give you some things to tackle in community. All right, fellas, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the space.
All right, peace to the gods.
No problem, King.
That's up.
That's up. All right, so let's wrap it up. Thank you everybody for coming on, and we'll definitely go do this more often. All right, it's for the culture.
For the culture.